By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Today we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that help to shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Prince of Cups. This is the first position. This is the station. This represents who you are when you're alone, right? Literally represents your authentic self. And this is the card of the authentic self. I think you're somebody that feels sometimes like you have to be a certain way to certain people. You know, that there are certain different groups of people, your friend group, your work kind of coworker group, family people, kind of feel like we have to be a different version of ourselves in every situation we're in. Yeah, this card is it kind of reflects that. This is our authentic self, right? I don't want to feel like I have to be a different person for different people, and I have to show these people one version of myself, and these people over here get a different version. Like, where is the real me? Who am I really? So I think that you are intending to spend a lot of time alone, being yourself, doing things that interest you, trying to find that authentic version of yourself, right? So that to kind of make up for all those moments throughout the day where we're trying to be other things to other people. Okay? Finding who you are and spending some time with that person, And I think that's really a worthwhile pursuit. I think that at the end of the day, you know who you are. You know why you're here, even if it feels like we have to wear a lot of different masks, right? This is that, again, the authenticity card. And this card tends to feel a lot of the emotions from other people, okay? And, because this is a very watery card, obviously, right? So very sensitive to the vibrations of other people, to the point where it influences us. You go into a crowded room, and you can't help but feel the room. You can't help but absorb some of those vibrations. So I feel like you need a lot of intentional time doing your own thing in order to wash off all of that energy. Okay? You may not know it, but I think you're a bit of an empath. Okay? And sometimes as an empath, you need to find ways to discharge some of that accumulated emotional energy. Okay, so that it doesn't sort of stick to you and dry, and then it becomes a stain. It becomes really hard to get off, right? So let's put this card into a little bit of context. Yeah, let's see what else is going on for you. So anyway, we have a Chariot card. So with the Prince of Pentacles, the Prince of Cups, I feel like that's where your attention is fixed right now. Okay, that's kind of like the name of the game for you, is trying to reconnect with who you are in your authentic energy, and then of course putting on the armor. So we kind of have this is you without the armor, this is you in your raw, vulnerable self, this is you now with the fortification, the fortitude, and the armor as we're out in the world. Does that make sense? Let's keep going. Let's put the rest of our cards on the table here. We have the Hanged Man, we have the Nine of Swords, Ten of Pentacles, and another Cancer energy with the Knight of Cups. Okay, the Knight of Cups. Chariot and Knight of Cups, both of these are Cancer energies. You should maybe watch the Cancer reading. Okay, or I would if I were you. Here we have the Hierophant. We have the Universe. And we have the Ardor Temperance card. Are we going to go 4 for 4? No, but we do have the Ace of Swords, which is very, very good. You got a lot of good energy. I know that 9 of Swords looks challenging back there, and it is, but it's in the past. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here with Mr. Tao, the yin-yang duck, right there on top. And, we're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. All right. Now, as we look around the room, we do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana energies. That's quite a bit, right? 5 it's a half, yeah. So I think that's a good thing. This is a spiritual kind of evolution for you. Okay, this is a spiritual. Very, very spiritual time in your life right now. I think that this is you kind of learning how to deal with a lot of different kinds of people. This is you trying to remain true to who you are, despite the different versions of that authentic self that we have to be out in the world. Okay. You have, we don't have any fire. We've got water and water, air, and a little bit of earth. Okay, very heavy on the major arcana energies. And so this is kind of a spiritual quest for you. Yeah. But the first thing we got to talk about, or I guess the second thing, is the Chariot card. And this is positioned to the battlefield. Kind of the Chariot is out on the battlefield. And what does the Chariot need on the battlefield but armor, a good chariot, a sense of direction, something to fight for, a reason to be out there, And so for you, that battle is to be out in the world, doing worldly things, but to not be overtaken by that energy of the world, to not be sucked into that energy and to become that, to be overwhelmed by it. See, the Chariot is fully armored, fortified, disciplined, very protective of ourselves, so that not everything gets to penetrate into the charioteer underneath, the authentic self underneath. This is a very Cancerian reading for you. Maybe a lot of you are on the cusp of Cancer, because this is our sensitive self, and this is the shell. This is the tender meat. This is the shell around us. And so I think that what we're doing is we're developing a thicker skin. We're developing a little bit more of a shell. There are events out in your life, it may be a family thing particularly for you right now, that kind of is like, it's really getting under your skin. And it's making you feel things you don't want to feel. It's making you kind of behave in ways or have to respond to things that you don't want to have to respond to in ways that you don't want to have to respond to them in, or whatever. So this is where we're being sort of urged to transform, to grow, right? What is the conflict in your life right now for which you have to develop a little fortitude? Okay? In order to deal with, maybe it's something at work. It feels like it's more of a family thing, though. It feels like there's something or some group of people or some person particularly. I don't think it's a particular person. I think it's just generally the vibe of the room, that you're trying not to let it get to you. You're trying not to let it pierce down to your core self. You're trying to develop that armor, that thicker skin. Okay? And, in some ways we feel like there's not the option of just avoiding it, right? Either it's work, maybe it's school, maybe it's at home, family. It's not something that we can just avoid going into that place. Okay, so it's somewhere in some scenario where you're going to have to see this person or these people. It's kind of in the natural course of events. You're going to come into contact with people. And we're trying to have the discipline and the fortification and the armor and the thicker skin to do what we're supposed to do, to fulfill our responsibilities, but to not let that negative energy get to us. This is the idea of the person that works in healthcare. And maybe that's you, working in healthcare and dealing with a lot of different things, and being able to perform our duties without taking all of that. Maybe this is even for first responder energies, right? First responder people, and that sort of a situation. Being able to go out and fulfill our duties, but without letting all of that negative energy accumulate on us and really drag us down and turn us into something that we don't want to be. And we have that card of alchemy here as well. So there is a situation in your life that if we did not have this armor, we would very likely become a version of ourselves that we don't want to become. And that's what this temperance card is talking about. That's why this card's in the position of the difficulty. Because right now I'm in a difficult situation, a very challenging pressure cooker situation that if I let it will turn me into someone I don't want to be. So that's the challenge. That's the quest right now, okay? Now down beneath the surface we have this hanged man. And this is kind of an unconscious part of you. This is something under the surface that's trying to have a voice, okay? And in some ways, the voice is that part of you saying, why do we have to be here? Why is it that I feel obligated to be in this situation when I don't like who I'm becoming in this situation? What is holding me to this thing? What sort of karmic promise did I make that I have to endure this and suffer this? This is the card of suffering and sacrifice. This is the card of acceptance, okay? So in a way, there is that part of you that is kind of said, hey, this is the situation, right? And we don't see the fire energy here, so we don't see that you're wrestling against the situation and trying to change it. But what you're trying to do is not let it change you. So if this is the coworkers, you can't really, if you're not the boss, you can't hire and fire people, right? It's not really your place. If this is your family obligations, you can't really choose your family members, or you can't choose the situation right now. So there is this element of acceptance that is saying, I have to deal with things as they are. That's what Spirit is presenting you right now, is this situation that is saying, you can't get out of it. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to do whatever it is you need to do without letting it corrupt you and change you and drag you down? So there's the acceptance there. There is a surrender that says, this is the reality, this is what I have to deal with. And I think that's a very important step, to get to that point. And I think there was a time where you fought against this and you tried to deny, and get rid of it. You tried to change it. You tried to say, no, I'm not going. I'm not doing it. And then we sort of say, okay, fine, I'll do it, right? And now it becomes the next sort of phase of that quest is trying to figure out how to do it without being consumed by that negative energy. Okay. But there's also the other part of us that is the other kind of version of the surrender here is, what if I just say the heck with it? What if I just let the situation change me? What if I just don't even try to fight it? Don't even worry about it. Just whatever this situation is going to change me into or turn me into, just let it be. Whatever it wants me to become, I'm just saying the heck with it. I don't even care anymore. In that sense, it kind of feels like we're waving the white flag. We're throwing in the towel. And that would have to be with the absence of the Chariot. Because now it's like I have no protection against the situation changing me, molding me. And so I have to just accept it. That this situation is going to turn me into something and I have no say in the matter. But we do. We may not be able to get out of this scenario, but we, at the very least, don't have to let it turn us into someone we do not want to become. And that, I think, is the essence of our hanged man. Now, position 4 is the event itself. And this is a Mars in Gemini energy. It's the 9 of Swords. This is a very difficult card. It is a very painful card. This is a card not of happiness, but of unhappiness, right? Of sadness, of misery, of lamentation, of like not sleeping at night. And I think that this is or was the realization that this was something that you'd have to endure. Okay? That we spent a lot of sleepless nights trying to figure out how to get out of it, or how to not go, or how to not have to be a part of it, or whatever, how to perhaps not deal with it. Until that hanged man kicks in and we kind of say, okay, now I accept it. I have to deal with it. Okay? I don't know what the situation was, but I feel like it was unpleasant. It's still unpleasant, but instead of avoiding it, we're facing it. And by facing it, we're able to, in a way, we are able to transform it. Okay? Maybe the mystery card will be the 9 of Cups instead of the 9 of Swords. A fear of confronting whatever this pain is sort of keeping us controlled by it. Yeah. This is a card of separation. This is a card of division. Okay? So there's a rift somewhere. Okay? Maybe this is a disconnect with you and family members. You know, maybe this is just, maybe there's some event that happened that kind of tore the family apart. And now, rather than just running from it, this is something that you're choosing to deal with. I kind of see the 10 of Pentacles up here as things getting put back together. Yeah. It might be that's what your aim, that's what your goal really is. We can't achieve that goal if we don't confront this. Okay? Maybe this was, could be a breakup. It could be the loss of a job. It could be a rift in the family. It could be kind of you're on the outs with your best friend. I mean, it could be a lot of things. Okay? But it's a separation. It's a tearing apart of something. And this is kind of the origin of where you are now. This is what has shaped your current situation and has brought us now up to that 10 of Pentacles in position 5, right? This is the driving force. This is kind of what we want to achieve. The reason why we're here, right? The motivating factor is putting it back together. Wealth, success, wholeness, okay? So the 9 of Swords kind of feels like something broke, something fell apart, something got torn asunder, right? This is you trying to put the pieces back together. Instead of just running away, this is you kind of, putting on the armor, putting on your suit, and showing up and putting it back together. This is card of life, right? This is usually the card of your best life. And I think that what we're realizing is that, if I want to have the life that I want, I've got to face this, and I've got to put the pieces back together. I've got to rectify the situation in some way. Okay? This is the picture of your best life. This is the ideal thing. This is perfection. Okay? And I think when we put something back together, we have to realize that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to look like how it was before, but it's going to be good, And this is kind of this is the goal that we're trying to achieve. That's why it's at the top of the path of the dove. This is that is what we're aiming for. That is our kind of ideal outcome. Okay, is that we can put the pieces back together in a relatively cohesive way, right? The next step for you is position 6. This is the future event, the immediate actions that we need to take, and this is a card really of being of service. This is a card of healing. It's the Knight of Cups. This is a card of giving and receiving love and affection. It's a card of extending our heart, extending something inside of us, offering it to somebody else. So I feel like whatever this is, you're offering the olive branch. You're offering the hand of, let's put this behind us. Let's get over this. Let's heal this. Yeah. You're being the bigger person in a way. And again, this is something that you feel like you can't just run away from. Okay? So obviously there must be a reason why you want to put this back together. Okay? And I feel like this is you being honest, being authentic, being open and vulnerable at the same time, having your armor so that you are not, it's like, you're cleaning up the mess, but you're going to put on the hazmat suit before you clean up the mess, so you're not expecting much coming back, right? That you're doing what you consider to be the right thing, but you're not expecting there to be a whole lot of reciprocation. I think maybe we'll be pretty surprised at how things go down when you take this next step. But at the beginning, we have to put on this armor, because we have to have that sense of like, okay, I'm protecting myself. I'm doing what I need to do here, but I'm not going to let this situation get out of hand. I'm not going to let this other person or this situation provoke me into any kind of unwanted behavior or undesirable behavior. I'm not going to absorb all that negative energy. I'm not going to be sort of consumed by those negative emotions. And I do wonder who the Cancer, there's a strong Cancer influence in this reading. Let's talk about the path of the serpent, okay? And as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. These readings are totally free. And if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, your general energy is the Hierophant. This is kind of the persona, People kind of look at you as like the fixer. People tend to look at you as someone who has the wisdom, somebody that knows what to do. It's kind of like when something breaks down, everybody runs to you and says, oh my God, it broke. How do we fix it? Please help us, right? So you're the one that people call in to try to put something back together again. Yeah. Kind of the expert. You're the one that's coming in to help. And maybe you are in that kind of position in this, I don't know, if it's a family thing, maybe you're kind of one of the senior family members, or you're looked at as kind of sort of the leader of the family, or the one who knows best, right? I feel like a lot of people come to you for advice. And again, we're being reinforced in this empath idea, yeah, where people come to you with their problems and they want guidance. People see you as the Hierophant. People see you as the one who can show them the way. Please tell me what to do, And I think this is one of those situations. You have to make sure that you're fortified so that you don't take on somebody else's negative energy just to relieve them of the burden, And so maybe you do work in healthcare or something like this, or some kind of first responder type of energy. But as the persona, we wonder if this is serving our highest good. And I think it is. I think that this is one of those masks that you wear, obviously, as we started the reading talking about. We have to be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. This is now one of those occasions. You have to be a certain type of person to a certain group of people or whatever. You don't want to lose sight of who you are. We don't want to start identifying with the mask and thinking we know everything and thinking that we can solve everything and that we always have the right ideas and we always know what to do. We don't want to identify with the mask, you know, because underneath it all, again, with the Prince of Cups, when we're at home alone and in bed and we take off the mask, we sort of realize that, you know, I have needs too. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in need of guidance myself sometimes, you know. So I think that it's important for you to deal with this situation responsibly, but make sure you take time to connect, to take off the mask and get in touch with how you really feel about things. Right? What emotions are happening in you, and how do we observe those emotions that we've taken on in this situation and allow them to sort of to wash away from us, so that we're not accumulating all this stuff. Okay? So we put on the persona, we put on the mask, we go and we do our duty, and then you know, then we have to sort of you know, sequester ourselves a little bit. I'm kind of expecting a hermit card here somewhere, in order to sort of process what happened and to feel the feelings that maybe when we're in this situation we have to kind of like not feel the feelings, you know, because we're trying to be responsible, we're fortified, we're trying to be the guide. There has to be a time where we can take off the Hierophant mask and just say, oh my gosh, like this is how I feel, you know. We have to make sure we take time for that. Now, the next card is position 8, and sometimes these are events or influences, something in your environment or something in your relationship that test you, right? And really it's this, you know, it's the universe here, or the world card, that is kind of making us feel sometimes a little bit lost, yeah? That we're being expected in so many different places. We're expected to be so many different things to so many different people. Sometimes we don't know which way is up. Sometimes we feel like I don't really know who I am or where I'm supposed to be, because I kind of feel like I'm everyone, everywhere to everybody. And to me, it feels like you're not taking enough time for yourself. Feels like we're not spending enough time connecting with who we are, doing things that we enjoy, being aware of how we feel about things. Okay. This is the card of sometimes too many possibilities, too much of everything, right? That's kind of like the more we do in life, the more there needs to be done. And so the universe is expanding, and we're getting further and further away, or farther away from that authentic self. Okay, kind of getting lost out in the world. I really do feel there's a Hermit card coming here. Kind of want to peek, but I'm not going to. So the Hanged Man kind of has a difficult time saying no to things. And so it's kind of like whenever the world calls, the Hanged Man is flowing in that direction. Okay? And I don't think this is an occasion where you are saying no, because again, look, there's no fire energy here. So I feel like we're of service. We're saying yes. We're acquiescing. We're going with that flow of things, and we're not really saying no, but we're trying to figure out how to navigate all of these responsibilities, this particular situation, and still maintain the clarity and the authenticity and that connection with what's really important to us. So the universe card in your relationships and in your environment, it kind of says that there's too much. Okay. That your world is getting so large that it's kind of like we need more versions of ourselves out there. You know, that if I could just, you know, kind of clone myself a few times and I'd be able to do everything, but you're only one person, right? And so it's this expanded area is too big. It's kind of like we need to, it feels weird, but it's almost like we need to make our universe a little bit smaller. So we kind of have less, it's kind of like if your backyard's too big, then it's like it's going to take way too much time to mow it, and there's just so much to do. I just want a small yard. It doesn't take me very long to fix it up and clean it, and I can just enjoy it. So when we spread ourselves too thin, and we're trying to be everywhere at once, we're trying to be all things to all people. Yeah. The next card, of course, is the Art or Temperance card, and this is shows our fears and worries and our concerns, right? This is something that's challenging us to grow, and this, of course, is the pressure cooker. It is the blacksmith's anvil, and it is our realization that every relationship we have changes us in some way. And if I'm changeable, if every relationship changes me, then who am I? What is there that exists when I'm not out there kind of, being molded and shaped by the world? We're sort of looking for, I don't know if autonomy is the right word, or agency, maybe. Okay. We're feeling as if we're sort of feeling a little lack of personal power. Okay, and I think that's where that Chariot card comes in, that we're doing our duty in the world, we're living the life we're supposed to live, but we're fortified. We're not letting every relationship we have turn us into somebody, to change us, right? That we have to be in control of our chariot. We have to be intentional about who we're becoming, because if we don't have a say, we don't know who we're going to become. Every situation is turning us into a little bit of a different person. We don't have any direction there. We may not like who we're becoming. So it could be that we're looking for some discernment so that we can choose those situations and choose those relationships, those engagements, those activities that will help us to become the person that we want to become. I think that's where we get our Ace of Swords here at the end. This is the card of clarity, right? This is unity. This is peace of mind. This is a level-headedness. This is higher wisdom and discernment. This is our ability to I think whatever this relationship is that you're trying to heal or to reconcile, I think this is that unity. I think that you're going to be successful in putting something back together. But I think you're also understanding that you have to be the one to pick and choose the direction that you take in life. Okay? This is asking us to tap into the spiritual energy, tap into our intuition, and take direction from there. Yeah. This is one of the only swords cards you have, and it's really a kind of the direct opposite of the Nine of Swords, right? Because this is dispersion. The Nine of Swords is everything is being torn apart. This is everything coming back together. Okay? So there is a despair back here. There is a confusion, there's a depression, there's an angst. But here we have clarity, we have peace, we have calm, we have enlightenment. Okay? And I think that your path is becoming more and more clear to you. I think that you are, in some ways, learning to pick your battles and take a little bit more agency of life and find a deeper sense of direction. Okay. I want to look at the mystery card. This is position 11. This is the guide. This is the voice of your higher self. This is the wisdom coming from within. This card sometimes shows us who we need to become in order to live the life we want to live, right? Especially if we're going from misery to clarity or from confusion to clarity. What is this card going to be? How do we get from there to there? Well, we need all these other cards. I kind of hope this is the Nine of Cups. I feel like it might be the Hermit. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's the Nine of Pentacles. Very good. This is you becoming the person you want to become, right? This is growth. This is gain. This is, well, it's not the 10 of Pentacles, but it's the 9, right? So this is something that is something that has been restored, that we've become whole again. It's not perfect, but it's functioning the way it's supposed to. Okay, so I think that's a very good sign. But this is also kind of our personal growth, right? This is us understanding that some situations are challenging because they're turning us into who we need to be, teaching us things that we need to learn in order to become the best version of ourselves. But there are some situations that are trying to do the opposite to us, and we have to have that discernment. We have to be able to pick our battles. This is the card of feeling like we're living a successful life. Yeah. This is the card of progress. Yeah, progress. I think progress in this particular relationship or this family thing that you're being called upon to solve. But I think also as a result of that, kind of saying, you know what, I'm not going to be always available for everybody, you know, to be dragged into these kinds of situations. That I got to start thinking about what's going to be good for me and my life and my growth and my well-being, my health. Okay, so I think this is a very, very good card, very successful card. And, well, let the lessons of these 11 stations settle into your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation. Remember that the tarot does not dictate your future, but it may reveal the patterns of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your path, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's a link down below in the video description. New readings for Gemini Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.